Okie dokie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just doing the first of a number of live streams to talk about SaaSet, show the features off, give a few tips and tricks, that sort of thing. One of the things I've been asked about a little bit is the apps that we show on the homepage and what was involved in building them. And the answer is it's very varied, but I want to give you some indication. So these projects are all under this particular admin account. So the comic joke book, if we go into that one, you will see this took 90 tokens to build, and that is genuinely what it took to build. Look at this. No version history. Why not? Because it built it all directly off this prompt. And it got it right first time. And if you haven't seen this one, this does look quite nice if we open this up. It basically is pulling a joke from a joke API and an image from another. And then as you click tell me another, it just keeps telling you jokes. And the image in the middle randomly changes. So very simple app. And it was all built just off this one prompt with no edits. So I told it exactly what I wanted it to do, pull a joke from here. And then I told it the format it gave it in. And how did I know that format? Quite simply like this. I took the API. This is an API that needs no password. So if you just go to it, this is what it gives you. So you can see exactly what it returns. So I just copied and pasted an example of what it gave me into there. Told it what I wanted to show, then I told it the same for this API. And this one again needs no password. If I go to that, this returns another JSON string that contains where the image is. So I told it that's what it returns, gave it an example. Give me a button, make it look comic bookish. That is all I said. And in 90 tokens, because I did the initial build using advanced mode, which I always recommend for your first build if you can. Yes, it uses more tokens, but that's what it's going to use. It's clever thinking, and especially anything to do with this, make it look comic bookish. If you send that to the standard code bot, it's not going to do the best job. But if you give it to the advanced one, it will send that off to a design bot that will actually go, oh, comic book means this, and define it and give it all of what it needs. So built in 90 tokens. Now, other projects, as you will see, take considerably more. This one took 524 tokens. This is the Pocket Etymologist. It basically gives you the meanings of words. It also gives you a word of the day, pronunciations, and if the pronunciation is available, you can play it audibly. Let's go and actually have a look in the preview window. And let's actually search for a word. So let's search for the word dog, really simple word. And there's dog. Has dog got an audio pronunciation? Dog doesn't have an audio pronunciation. Maybe cat. I know one of these simple words does. There we go. Hear pronunciation.
A cat.
And if I click, it'll play out my speaker. A cat. And this is all pulling from a completely free API. But in order to build it, as you will see, it took a little bit more effort. So the very first build had errors in. So advanced build version 1 needed validation errors fixed. I just hit the auto button in standard mode. I always do my fixes like that in standard mode. Then I told it needs, what did I put here? It wasn't giving any results. And it was saying in the console, always a good trick if you're having trouble with something you're building. The console is your friend. You bring it up with the F12 key in Firefox or Chrome. Chrome's probably easier to look at. And then if you got errors, you can ignore these origin ones. These are to do with the fact this is currently loaded in an iframe. But any errors that come up as it goes, you can report back. So then I had it so it was showing the word, but all the definitions that were coming up were listed as undefined. So we asked to fix that. Then I asked for the adding of the audio player because I didn't have that in originally, and I realized that that could be done. And then there was a lot of fixing for the searching. It was just a lot of testing. And then I got it working and decided that it still looked a bit naff. The styling wasn't what I wanted. So I just asked it to make it pop. I mean, literally just said, do that. And as you can see, we had to fix a couple of other little glitches and things. Some of the buttons didn't look good. Then I added the word of a day feature. So this built up, but most of these edits were done in standard mode. I think the add a word of a day was done in advanced because it was a whole new feature. So 524 tokens that took to build out to the stage it is. I'm not going to sit and do a demonstration and show you what it is. These are all available on the homepage of SaaSet.com. They are the demo apps that are on the page. So, and then obviously now some of these you're going to look at and go, wow, 35 tokens, that was good. Yeah, it wasn't strictly speaking, because this was where I made a different version. And a little trick that you can do, say you've got something that's working well. Was this the video version or no, this is version one. But this was actually, it wasn't version one, it was really a second version. I'd already got something, but it wasn't quite working. So we pulled it in. Actually, which is, I might be getting confused here. That might genuinely be 35 tokens. The copywriter version 2 took 325 and went through a few, but didn't go through loads of versions. But as you can see, this was the one. Version 2 took that version 1 that was 35 tokens. What I did is I copied it. And then I said, this is working, but the copy generator needs to be longer and blah, blah. And I started doing a version 2, and I did that with advanced and these adjustments with standard mode, and then got to the version 2, which is and both versions you can see on the homepage. I've left both up there so you can see the advancement and how it went on. So officially, this one really took that plus that because I used the duplicate feature that we've got in here to copy it. When you duplicate it, it resets the token usage to 0. So what you're actually seeing on your token usage is actually what you've used. Added video to the recipes one. It took 23 tokens just to add the video feature. Not a lot, right? So recipes had a version 1, which I believe I haven't left on the dashboard. There it is. It's the version 1 down here, 175 tokens it took to build. And then I wanted to add in, I noticed that the API had videos in it and that it was putting the video links on the page. So took a copy of it, and we go to version history, you'll see. When I, that was the favorites weren't working, but the first version of it, which you don't see, the one that got me to this point, was where it got the video added. So if we look at this now, or if we get a random meal, any that have got a video, it'll find a video and link you straight to it. So it's just a lot nicer than it was. As now. And this is built with an entirely free API. And you think if you were to just actually take this, host it on your own thing, stick some ads in it, which you could have SaaSet do for you, put the ads in, and just get people using it. I mean, just the ad revenue. And if you look at recipe sites that exist, that's largely all they are. So now you can build a complete recipe site, fully function with videos and everything for pennies Whereas that would have cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in development costs in the past. We'd have had to hire a developer. Don't have to do that now. And here's the important thing. I really don't ever look at most of the code that is developed with this. I don't look at the code. I'm not interested. I can look at it. Yeah, I come from a coding background, and the only reason I look at it is to further optimize the system and go, well, we could do that better. So this one ended up spending a lot of tokens on what was a mess about, but I had trouble getting the quotes to pull in, and you'll see 18 versions and all sorts of failures and cock-ups and things, but got there in the end. So, some things will just take longer, but this is because I didn't give it a lot of information. The initial prompt, um, is I told it what API to use, but I didn't give it any information about the API. So it got things wrong. And then I'd say it's not displaying, and it'd correct the API, and then it would start displaying. Whereas when I did, say, comic book jokes, I was a little bit more explicit in this is what it will return. So I just spent a few minutes. If you don't know about APIs, honestly, Google is your friend. Go to Google, type in free APIs. And I often search for no auth, which means you don't need a key. If you do need a key, it's not a problem. You can tell SaaSet use this key. And as you can see, I visited many of these sites, and now a lot of them are dead. A lot of them don't work, and there's a little bit of faffing around to go through that. And the sites that list the most aren't necessarily the best. Quite often, you'll find the sites that list fewer, they all work. Let's just go and have a look at this article. How old is it? That's this year, so this will all be current. And this talks about high value, so really useful APIs and how they work. Now, you don't have to get concerned too much with how it works. You can tell SaaSet this is the GET request for it. Just tell it. So you can find really useful APIs. I think I used the weather one in one of the probably in that one that I was in the space one. I think that pulls your weather in. No, it doesn't. I did another one that pulled weather in. But there's a very good weather API, Open Metro, completely free, don't need a key, very powerful. And in fact, if you just start playing with it and then go to ask the AI in SaaSet when you're in editing a project, I don't really want to edit any of these, but we'll go in anyway. When you're here, ask the AI. And so say you built a thing that used the open weather API, you could say, what other what other features, but I can do this for this because it doesn't make any code changes. Could I add to this? And we just run that. And what this is doing, anything you ask AI, it gives you a bunch of suggestions on improvements that you could make to the app. Now, sometimes these things are overly complicated and not worth really worrying about. But it gives you a good way of coming up with ideas, and it will also. There you go. We could do joke categories, and it will give me a prompt for that. And now you don't even have to copy and paste unless you want to mix prompts together. If you just want to run a prompt, you can click use in edit. So I can click it because it won't actually run it right away. It just puts it in there ready for me to hit the apply changes. So if I wanted to add a categories thing, we could do. In fact, what I'm going to do, I don't want to mess this one up because it's one of my live demos, but copy it. Now I'm messing around with the copy. Doesn't matter what I do with this. So let's just go back to this and ask it again. Go filtering. Loading into it doesn't need that, loads really quick. Keyboard navigation. Now this is good. Add a share button. Really like that idea. So let's do that. So you see how quickly you can go from there's a good idea AI has made for me, and you can have it suggest things. And if they don't work out, you can always roll back in your version history. Can be found here. No version history on this one because we haven't done it. Will be now. All right, let's put a share button on there. I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't like the look and placement of it, but we will take a look at this and see what it looks like. Okay, it just copies it to the clipboard. So we would want to expand that. Can you position the share button more centrally? Also add options to share direct to Facebook and X. I do. And we'll set it going. You can sit and watch it work on your code if you want. I have been surprised how much I've learned about coding that I didn't know just from watching this do stuff. It's quite interesting. Okay, this is a little bit better. I don't like the colors, but we won't worry about that. And they need to be nudged down a bit because they're overlapping with that. But, you know, fine tuning is dead easy to do afterwards anyway. So let's, it rarely runs properly in this desktop preview. That is just a preview. So we always want to look at it in this. So let's try share on Facebook. Facebook refused. Okay, well, that is Facebook is down right now because that is a legitimate Facebook URL request. So, okay, that's not working, but an X I don't have an account on, so I'm not going to actually be able to test it myself, but there you go. And share, I take it, just puts it on the clipboard so that I could then go to one of my favorite things and paste it. All right. So, you know, you can make enhancements and tweaks very, very easily, and you can get it to suggest what those enhancements should be. And if I go back here, by the way, it doesn't get rid of the last thing. So if there was other things I wanted to do, I've still got this here, add a settings panel, add categories. I like the idea. So let's add categories. Now, I will warn you, you do need to beware of something called feature creep. Quite often, an app is good enough and ready. Like I consider the comic book thing, even without the sharing, just to be good. I mean, obviously, the social sharing makes it better. But you can get into what we call feature creep mode. I don't think it has a riddle, so that's going to be interesting. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. Puns. And these are all puns. Okay. Well, that works. So all we want is this a bit nicely styled and maybe the share buttons to be a different color. Because I think they look a bit grey and horrible and also nudged down a bit because they overlap. So there's just a little bit of reformatting to be done there. And the more descriptive you are, the better, the easier it will be. So I'm just going to leave that for now. I just wanted to have a play around and give you an idea of what is possible. And then I have got product like this one, which has had 659 tokens, and that isn't that isn't all. This is actually one. This is where I call it complex. This has a lot of tokens invested into it, but it's hugely powerful thing, and currently up for demonstration on the main page. It won't be forever. I'm going to take that one down because I sell that product. Um, Yeah, various other things. You can see the sort of token usage, video poker. Now, this was version 2, 216 tokens. It was based off of video poker version 1, which I don't know if I've still kept. I do keep most of my old things. I've started deleting a few once I'm done with them. No, I didn't keep it. So I can tell you though, because I remember that the original video poker had about 250 tokens into it. So and then I then enhanced it further and spent another couple of hundred tokens, but ended up with a nice looking game that shows the card backs. The first version didn't do that. There's lots of things in here, and there's lots of things the first version had that got taken out. Because I just didn't think they were really good features. Don't think you can play it in the but yeah. So, that gives you an idea. Just a reminder, you've got things here. You can test everything in mobile responsive mode. So everything this builds is mobile responsive out the gate as much as possible. You can track your usage on any project as well to see exactly what you use the credits for. You've got your version history here. Now, this version history, we've just improved, added these tooltips so you can see the full prompt. A lot of my things were done before we added this. So you see how that's getting truncated. The new one displays, it keeps and displays 500 characters of history in there. Uh, so you will, in most cases, get to see pretty much your whole prompt unless you put in something ridiculously big. So that's one of the little changes. Incidentally, if you want to know what changes we're up to, if you go to the documents page on SaaSet, I believe down here is the view devlog button. And this opens up a live document. And I completely reset the document when we came out of beta and went live on the 25th of February. I archived off the old beta log because most of it was boring, tedious. You wouldn't have understood it anyway. This is as much as I can a plain English version of my devlog. I have a devlog that is in, a technical one, but this is my plain English one. And I figure we link direct from the site, and this will keep you up to date with the changes we've been making. There will be another rollout. As you can see here, we did a rollout every day for a few days. Doesn't normally happen. This is a solid, robust product now. We are still finding the odd glitch and bug and improving things. And as we do, we'll make a note of that in here. But so that was where we added the full prompt to the tooltip. But any project you made prior to that date, it will have truncated the description. But going forward, all future edits you do, it will remember the 500 characters to show in the tooltip. We also made some other improvements on the 27. There were massive improvements to the AI, and adding those buttons in the Ask AI feature. And thank you very much for the suggestions. I believe that suggestion came from Ellie, who was on a video call with us. If you are a SaaSet user and there are things that you want to see, there are things you're finding, and keep us in the loop. Let us know. I have a live wish list running. Now, I can't guarantee that just because you ask for something, it's going to get done. But I do put these things out to other people, and if we think it's really going to add value for who the audience is intended, or it's going to expand SaaSet in a way without overcomplicating it. Very, very interested in putting these things in. This is a major project for me. As you know, the old SaaSet, I ran that for decades. A decade? A decade? How long? Yeah, I mean, it was crazy amount of time. And I really didn't think there would be a future version of SaaSet. When we end of life SaaSet, I was quite sad, and I thought that was the end of it. And then this idea came along and got developed, and suddenly took over and became amazing. And so I was like, well, still got the domain. Um, and if you haven't looked through this, it doesn't take long. This documentation, I'll just hit expand all on this. This documentation has been kept relatively short so that you will read it. I know no one reads documentation. They just want to go in and play. But I promise you, you will save yourself frustration, time, effort if you look at what these say. This explains some of the limitations that you might run into where you need to host a file on HTTPS rather than run it from your local file system. Something that we're probably going to get, not that I've had a lot of support tickets, but those that do have been things like, I'm trying to do this and it's not working. And then as soon as they put the file on a thing, or they run it from inside the preview mode in SaaSet, it works. But if you run it from the local file system, it won't. And that's often to do with a thing called cores. I'm not going to get into that. You don't even need to know what it stands for. But yeah, so this will give you all of the things. This is an advanced feature. I'm going to be honest. The basic history rollback, yeah, everyone uses that. The looking at the differences in code is only for people that are geeky and really want to, or for our support people if we're trying to resolve a problem. So this will basically explain just about everything to you. I would say we don't see warnings now because we've fixed them all. So you either get a pass or a fail. At least it is possible to get a warning, but I haven't seen one in a very long time because the whole thing is, incidentally, I want to show you. I'm going to have to be careful because I don't want to flash any sensitive data. So what I'm going to do, just for a second, I'm just going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring up an admin screen. Let me see, that's not going to give away. It's got customer data on it. I can't share. All right. You're going to have to take my word for this. Behind the scenes in the admin area, I have a dashboard which is logging all of the errors. And I have told you in previous videos, it's worth repeating. You do not get charged tokens on total failures. You know, if you ever get those times when it says AI return broken code or whatever, we don't charge you the tokens on that. When we know it's failed, you don't get charged. So, and part of how we're able to do that is all those errors, all those failures are logged in an admin area. And then we review those, and then we go back and we develop further so that those happen less and less and less. And because we virtually eliminated them all, I just looked a moment ago when it came up. As I say, I couldn't share the screen. There was sensitive data on it. But there was only 9 errors showing in there for this week, which is not a lot. I mean, and most of them are API just didn't return anything for whatever reason. It timed out, and then you try again, and it worked immediately. So most of them are things that, you know, timeouts and API issues happen. We can't get around that. We are using a very robust system to do this, and we are on a high level tier, so our API can handle plenty of requests. There's no issue on that. But even then, some requests fail. Technology goes wrong. It's just how it is. The important thing is that that won't have an effect on you, whereas other systems, Abacus, that exist out there, uh, whether it works, it doesn't complete failure, you get charged and it can be thousands of tokens. Um, and we're dealing here in this deliberately works in low units of tokens. Alrighty, I'm going to call it a wrap there. I don't want to make these videos too long. Just wanted to talk you through a few things. I hope you found it useful. If you've got questions about SaaSet, you can ask them below. You can reach out to me, Andie at SaaSet.com, ANDIE at SaaSet.com, if you've got questions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.